All right, we're going to take a look at what number 4 looks like. The following stem and leaf table describes the ages of a group of people attending a concert. What is the mean age of a concert goer described by this table? So we're dealing with means. We're still looking at average, and we know how to do that normally. It would be just a straight forward calculation like the previous three. But this time the data is presented to us a little bit differently. It's being shown to us in what's called a stem and leaf table, written for us right up there. And stem and leaf table is basically a table where each number is broken into two parts. The first part of the number is shown in this first column over here, and this is the tens column, or let's say, since we're talking about ages, decades. And then over here are the ones column, or single years. So basically, somebody who is, let's say, 22 years old, instead of writing just the number 22, you put them in this row right here where they have 2 decades and 2 years. So this person right here, this 2 right here refers to the number 22. Whereas, let's say, this 5 over here is tied to this number 4 in front. So this would be 45, this guy right here. And that's the way all of these numbers are broken down. So when you go to do the mean, you do it exactly the same way as you would previously. And of course, you don't need to write them all out every time. You can go right to the calculator. But since we're doing this for the first time, I'll take a second and break down all those numbers. So first thing to pay attention to is the 0. You don't need to write 0, 7. You just have to write 7 because we know that there are 0 tens in front of that 7. So this is a kid who has no decades, 7 years. That's a 7-year-old right there, followed by an 8-year-old at this concert, another 8-year-old, and then 4 9-year-olds. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 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 9-year-old. That's your first bunch of concert goers. When you come down to this row right here, we're now going to be dealing with people who have a decade behind them in terms of their age. They've got 1 decade plus a year. So this person right here is 11 years old. Plus 12. And then 3 14-year-olds. Right? 14, 14, 14. 22 and 22. Three people who are 39 years old. Now this 0 means that they've got 4 decades but no single years. That's a 40-year-old. So let's continue on here. Plus 40. A 42-year-old. 45-year-old. Plus a 48-year-old. 40, 42, 45, 48. Over here you have to be careful. You're going to want to write 50-something because there's that 5, but you'll notice that there is no single number here. This is blank. And when you have a blank, that means there is no data. Okay, a blank is not a 0. That 0, that person is 40 years old. 4 decades, 0 single years. But a blank, this question wants to tell you there's 5 decades, but there's no single year associated with it. That means there's no data in that blank. You don't count it. Over here, though, come down 1, I've got a 60-year-old. So 6, 0, and then 1 78-year-old at that concert. Good for them. We'll take a second now to add up all those numbers, and then we'll do the division. And when we do that division, we have to remember how many data points there were. And the quick way of doing that, other than counting every single one that I just wrote down here, is to just count the number of parts that are in the right-hand column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, blank, 22, 23. So we got 23 data points, and we just have to get that total really quickly now. So I'm going to go to the calculator. Bear with me for a moment as I begin to add. 7 plus 8 plus 8. 4 nines plus 11 plus 12 plus 14 plus 14 plus 14 more plus 22 plus 22 plus 39 plus 39 plus 39 more. Getting close now. Plus 40. Sorry, my cable's there. Plus 42 plus 45 plus 48 plus 60 plus 78. Whew. 598 is what we get for the number of years, though, there. Total divided by 23. And when we do that, we get an average age, or a mean age, of 26 years old. So it looks a little bit complicated, but really once you learn how to read the front of the number and the back of the number, and that's really all it is, right? The first number and the second number, that, you know, the first part of the number and the second part of the number that make up the whole number itself, to give me that list.